these things are cool. Ice cream and cake, a ride on a Harley, and the sun shining on my face. Right, here it is, the next donor bike for the next project. Maybe not what you were expecting, and certainly not what we were expecting either, but in all of the looking and hunting and searching that we've been doing for the last 3 or 4 months to try and find the next challenge, to decide on the next way to go, this came up and we absolutely couldn't resist it. It's a Harley Davidson Dyna Wide Glide, for those who don't recognise it, FXDWG, and it's the 1450 engine version as well. It's a 99, right on the changeover year, so it's the first of the 1450s, and it has an absolutely heart-rending story behind it as to why it came up for sale, but we'll tell you all about that a little bit later. At the moment it needs an awful lot of cleaning up. As you can see, the state of it, I had to go and collect it from the guy's house last night in pouring rain, and I mean pouring rain. It was biblical all the way home, 3.5 hours on the road. That's why it's in this state. So the next thing, get it back to the garage, get all this washed off, get it up on the bench and have a close look at how good it really is, what it needs, what we might be able to do to it, because this is going to be a short, winter-long restoration project rather than a proper build. And then in the new year, in the spring, we can decide where to go from there. But for now, this Harley Davidson Dyna Wide Glide is the next project. Let's get it back for a wash. Now, there are a lot of Harleys on the market at the moment for sale. They're fundamentally a summertime bike for many people, and they just get off them in the winter, go and get another one in the spring. But this bike was very different. This was no summertime special. This was no fair weather bike for the guy that owned it. And I've got to say something else. I didn't buy this bike from a guy. We bought it from a couple. The lovely lady and gentleman that we got this from, they're retirement age now, and they bought this bike near on 20 years ago. Let's get past this guy. And they didn't buy it just to use on sunny days. They went all over Europe on it, touring. 45,000 miles this bike has done. 45,400 miles. And they did nearly every one of those miles together, two up. They invested in this Corbin saddle, this leather Corbin saddle, a £500 investment years ago, so that the lady had that same comfort as the rider did. And they went everywhere together on it. And then the terrible tragedy that struck is about 3 years ago, without boring you with details. The lady in question, she had a terrible accident and she received some life-changing injuries, and it put her in a position where she was unable to ride pillion ever again, and that was a terrible, terrible shame. Now she's on the mend, very slowly, but she won't be riding a bike again. Now what that did was that took the rider, the guy who owned it, that took his best girl away. He couldn't ride on the back anymore. Now I know so much how that feels. If I couldn't have days out with Penny on the back of the bike, just the two of us, away from the world, then I don't think I'd be so interested in riding bikes. And that right there is what struck this guy. He tried for a year or so going out just with mates on his own on the bike, but it wasn't the same. Not without her behind, and the two of them together enjoying it. So what that led to was from 2015 onwards, this Harley Davidson has done not even 1,000 miles. It's literally gone to the MOT station and back, to the service dealer and back, and a ride round the block to keep it all on the button. That's it. The chap who owned it, or the couple who owned it, he'd gone nowhere on it. He'd not gone and had any days out or adventures or whatsoever on it in 3 years. He just kind of lost his will to enjoy it because she wasn't with him, and that's a real tragedy. But at least she's okay and she's on the mend. And for him, what happened as well to finally compound things was his own health started to change. A little bit of arthritis here and there, his retirement age. These are heavy bikes, they're 300 kilos, and he decided in the end to take the heavy heart decision to sell the bike. Okay, welcome back to the dark side. Strapped safely down on the bench and nice and shiny and clean. But is it? Let's see after 45,000 miles of regardless of weather use and 19 years does for your shiny Harley. And I mean, let's look real close. Let's bring you in. Right, let's have a close look up her dress. See what she's hiding. First thing that came to mind when I picked the bike up. Nice shiny. Yeah, check that out, babies. That's nasty. This is what happens when you chrome plate aluminium castings. Doesn't last forever. I think these are Kuriakin. But then again, these have been on about 8 years. So they've done their job. They're extremely comfortable. Give you the heel rest, so you just put your foot flat on it rather than a peg. But I've got the factory pegs, so they'll go back on. I think the other side's the same. Down there, yeah, there it is. Just all peckled off. Sell by date reached. This is the original brake lever arm, but with a kind of Kuriakin pedal put on the top. So that's all immaculate. The chrome on that's lovely, and that isn't. You can feel all pickled already. Fork brace, same goes on here. This is the chrome starting to go. Just wear and tear, just life. It's the way it goes. Chrome never lasts long on aluminium. Even the factory can't make it work. Check that out. That's starting to pickle off. I'm not going to scrape that off yet. I'll decide what to do with that. I might replace this completely, but it's going to look worse scraped off, so I'll leave it. I think the rear cylinder head or the rear rocker cover's got the same problem. Right inside there, more of it. In round there. Again, just wear and tear, just life. This hypercharger filter, that's the same. It's not quite as bad, but it's pickled up. All this shiny what was once is all pickled up and peeling off, so that's going in the bin, and I'll probably fabricate a nice one for that, something a bit different. All the factory chrome pipes, engine casings, apart from those two rocker covers, everything else is fine. Really nice, smooth, no pitting, no you get tiny little dots on factory chrome sometime where it's just starting to go shady, go a little bit satin, but it's none of that. It's still deep, lustrous chrome. This is an aftermarket accessory, and just on cue. It's corroding up, so I've got the original wrinkle black factory one, so I'll just replace that. All came with the bike. Same goes in there. That's factory case, I believe. It's all original. Same as for this. And on the back, same as on the front, as you can see, Brembo brake upgrade. And not just 4-pot Brembo calipers, but the discs to go with. So they're a semi-floating Brembo disc and caliper setup, braided hoses, so these brakes work, which is more than can be said for the original brakes. So a great upgrade, happy to have that. Another interesting point, the caliper itself, really smooth, chrome is good, chrome is intact, smooth, shiny, lovely. But the bracket that holds it, not so. That's got, where are you? Sorry, focus, pitting. So again, that, grind it back, paint it, job done, put it back on. Chrome swinging arm, that's a Harley part, and the chrome on that is absolutely fine, superb. Even in there, where is it? There it is. Let's see if I can get you in there. Even right in there. That kind of crust of dirt, there's nothing underneath. You rub right underneath. I've taken a good rub right underneath that edge, and it's still shiny chrome. So good quality chrome. But then again, that's chromed onto steel, whereas things like that are chromed onto aluminium, and probably I imagine so is that. And you can't really chrome aluminium forever. It just, in the end, gives up, peels off. The shocks, absolutely amazing. They're not new either. I can show you that in a minute. I'll give you a once over on this history thing. These are the original factory shocks, never been replaced, and absolutely immaculate. Same goes to the other side. Just immaculate. Lovely. Clean, shiny, no rust, no pitting, nothing whatsoever. Inside there, all clean, awesome. Same swing arm, awesome. These things, they're kind of aftermarket Harley parts. Is that plastic? That's plastic. That's chromed plastic, as you can hear. So probably paint that, don't like it. This chrome swing arm, again, immaculate. Chrome belt pulley, pickled up. But again, aluminium, so sand it back, paint it, jobs are good. And black wrinkle might be the option for this, that you can get Simonized black wrinkle paint, and that's very much like the factory engine finish, so that'll be good. Same goes to the swing arm, or even the belt guard. That's all immaculate, factory part. I think it's original. Again, it's going to stay there because it's all immaculate. Same goes for the primary case, no corrosion. So really, it isn't nearly as bad. The guy was quite kind of mournful about it. He kept telling me how it had all this corrosion all over it, and he was a bit embarrassed about it because he just loved the bike. But honestly, it's not nearly as bad as he painted it. This back wheel started to peel, pickle a little bit. Let's come around this side. You can see it probably more clearly there. Let's get you in close. There you go. That's just corroded up on the back wheel. Again, a standard story. We've all seen it before. This is an aftermarket wheel. This bike originally would have had spoke rims, so I'm going to see if I can try and source a pair of original factory spoke rims, because I far prefer them to the big heavyweight cast rim. If I can't get a spoke rim, then that'll be off, stripped, strip the chrome off it and paint them. They'll look nice. Job done. Possibly even get them polished, don't know. Lots of work you can do on that, loads. Same goes for the front. Now this front is a proper genuine Harley part. This front rim, not sure it really goes with the bike, but it is a very, and I've got the receipt, very expensive, genuine Harley Davidson part, this wheel. And there's not a single pit, a mark, nothing on it. The chrome on it is perfect. I'm not sure how old it is, I'll have to look at the receipt, but wherever you put your hand on it, wherever you rub it, it's just mirror smooth. So I'm very happy with the front wheel. If I need to, I can make that into a twin disc. That might be an interesting conversion. I just need a right-hand fork leg with the lugs on. That's easy to get from a different model. They're all kind of interchangeable. These fork legs as well, see the standard pitting on them, that's all factory, original. You can tell it's the original factory. They've never been polished because of this kind of finish you get around here, which is how the factory turn it out, and then they lacquer it with a clear lacquer that eventually just peels off or wears through. All the little stone chips hit it and it corrodes underneath. We've all seen this. So that's another little job. Sand them back, polish them up, make them look great. Again, Brembo 4-pot, semi-floating disc and caliper conversion. Once again, brakes that really work. Certainly enough braking force for a tyre that wide. You really wouldn't want any sharper brakes on that tyre, because it's about the grip. They're going to overcome the ability of that tyre to grip the tarmac long before they run out of force. So you don't need any better than that. They are superb, same as the rear. In fact, you use the rear 50-50 with the front, you get a nice braking service from your bike. It's had a new regulator rectifier, that's in that in there, as you can see by, just take you in close. Now normally the fins, the cooling fins on this are all corroded and horrible for just where it lives on the bike within a matter of a year. But there it is, 19 years old. That's immaculate because it's been replaced. So that's nice. Again, maintenance. Right. So that's pretty much a once over. The paint is absolutely immaculate. Pretty much unmarked from what I can tell. There's a couple of these little funky sticker things. I've yet to get those off and see what's under there, but I can't feel anything nasty. There's another one under there. Could be a stone chip, but nothing to deal with, nothing whatsoever, just touch it up. The screen, not nice, is it? Really nasty. In fact, at 70 miles an hour, that creates a horrible kind of acoustic echo in your ears, and you need earplugs. I'd rather not have it on there at all. It doesn't really guard you from anything because you're sitting up above it. But there we are, that's what the guy wanted. Along with these sat-nav mount and everything else, which I've got to get off. We'll remove all that and clean the whole bars up. There's other stuff like this carbon sticky on stuff. Now I'm not sure if that's factory. It's got the Harley Davidson bar and shield logo, but carbon fibre stick on, really, on a Harley? Nah, it's not nice, is it? We'll see what we can do with that. I'm not sure if that's original or not. Not that it matters, don't like it, so it's coming off. That's quite nice, I like that, it's much better than the original. All the other Celtic stuff, where are we? There's some other gear on it. Things like this, the chap's little mascots and stuff. And he's in, oh, that's a mud flap. All of that will get stripped off. There's some other stuff here, that sort of thing. So there we are, that is it, up close and personal. The project will be one of a combination of different things, servicing and refurbishment of all the fluids because of the situation, as I explained earlier, the tragic situation with the couple. This has had no servicing. The last bill that I've got is 2 years ago. Now it hasn't done any miles, only 1,000 miles, but for a bike to sit for 2 years, I want to change the oils, all 3 oils, forks as well, get everything completely changed out so it's all completely new, change the brake fluid as well, standard stuff, front and rear. And once all that's done, then it will be a project of modification and restoration. So taking the standard stuff that's a little bit corroded and a little bit nasty and just past its sell-by date and refurbishing that back to a really lovely finish, and at the same time decluttering it. Now there is a problem here. This kind of thing, this Kuriakin horn and all of these other accessories, I really pay respect to that, and I don't want to be in any way disrespectful to people who choose that sort of thing, but personally for me, the trouble with Harleys is there's too much choice. There's too much stuff out there that you can buy and bolt onto your Harley, and some people feel good about that. They like to do it. They like to bolt stuff on. It makes them feel good, but very often it detracts from the original classic lines of the bike, and it takes it from what was Dyna Wide Glide, quite a showy bike from factory anyway, and turns it into a bit of a Bradford taxi. You know, it's all right, but for me it's too much. It takes it too far, and dare I use the word tack. It looks a bit tacky, that sort of thing. Plus it's corroded, it's nasty, and it's way past its sell-by date, so that's off. I've got the original horn. I've got so much. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to just show you the pile of stuff that this guy gave me to put in the boot of the car along with Ride the Bike Away. So let's just move the camera over, I'll pull the table around and I'll show you the mountain of gear that this bike came with. My word. Okay, there it all is. This all came with the bike. Got the original factory pipes, never been on, never seen gas. They are original, just completely unmarked. They came off day one, before the bike was even ridden, and he had these Screaming Eagle pipes fitted. After 10 years, that discoloured a little. Stop. So he put a new set on, and he gave me those as well. He just kept them because they're perfectly serviceable. They're just a little bit discoloured. Also, this is the factory air filter, the original full-size Dyna Wide Glide 88 cubic inch proper factory air filter, brand new, spotlessly clean, never been used. That's nice to see. Its provenance. It shows it's been stage 1 tuned from day one. It's got a Dynajet kit in the carburetor. I've got the results for that, or the receipt for it, and all the tuning works, so it's absolutely smooth, and it pulls like a train. It's fantastic. I'll come back to that as well in a minute. The other thing is all of this, I've got some nice servicing consumables, which is a really nice treat. I've got some oil filters he chucked in and a filter wrench. I've got some transmission oils there. I've got some brake fluid, Derby cover gasket, all of those little jobs to come. I'm going to do the primary chain adjustment, clutch adjustment. I did it on the soft tail, but I can do it on the Dyna as well. It's pretty much the same job, but it would apply to the Dyna owners watching, so hopefully that helps you out. Lots of other bits and pieces. Got the original factory foot pegs, going to put all those back on, and best of all is the factory seat. I absolutely love that original factory seat. They're so comfortable, they truly are. Now, the bike has got a Corbin saddle, and it had that because it was a 2-person bike. It belonged to a couple, and they rode it, as I said to you earlier, all of the time, 2 up, everywhere. They never went anywhere solo. So this little narrow pad on the back just wasn't comfortable enough long distance. And we're talking around Europe, that kind of long distance. So they changed it. They put the big Corbin seat on, the leather Corbin saddle, a big wise investment, and it was very comfortable for the lady rider. But that meant that never did anything. Day 1, week 1, that was taken off the bike and put into that great big box, and that's been in the guy's loft for about 15 years, and there it is, absolutely unmarked. And it'll be a pleasure to put that back on because they're very comfortable indeed. Right, so like I said, that brings me back to where we are next. This project is going to be one of restoration, small servicing jobs to bring the bike back up to a standard, and some modification, making some things for it, unique, unusual things. Going to change the style of it slightly, going to change the bars, going to change the pegs, going to make it look a little bit less like that, and a little bit more like a modern, up-to-date bike. I'm going to try and bring that style bang up to date and give it a slight chopper style, not necessarily 8-hangers, more modern rather than old school. And that's it for now. There's nothing more to do, nothing more to talk about today. I'm going to put all this away, pack most of this stuff, like all this, up in the loft, and this will be kept nearby because that will be the first kind of thing. The first project on this will be stripping all the stuff off, all the little bits and pieces off, get it right back to basics, right back down to its bare body work, and see what it absolutely looks like, and then start doing the servicing, the bits and pieces, all the fluids, get all that done and out of the way. Once they're done, then we can start on the project. Now this will take me through to the new year. This, as I said, is going to be roughly a 6-month project. It will get us through to probably March, April, May. Then this will be done, and we can, at that point, we'll be ready to do something a little bit different. But this is a great project in the meantime, and that's what this is all about. So there we are, the next project. Join us for the Street Fighter build. Now the Street Fighter is done, as I said, it's on the road, but I've got to change the clutch on it. So join us for that. I'm going to change the clutch pack, the clutch springs, change the oil because it is slipping a little bit, as some of you pointed out quite rightly, and I want to get that right so I can really enjoy it a little bit more out in the lanes. So there we are. Thank you for watching. I hope you're going to enjoy this. We certainly are. Ride safe. See you next time.